Hello, I'm David Sparks, and welcome to the Robot Assistant Field Guide. I'm really excited to be releasing this course right now because I think we're at a really interesting time with artificial intelligence. We've been hearing for so long how artificial intelligence is going to cure cancer and solve all our problems. But for us normal folk, it's just been a chat box. It hasn't been that helpful yet. That's changing though. Anthropic released the Claude Cowork tool recently, and that allowed your artificial intelligence to jump over the fence. Now it can look at your applications, go on the internet, and even deal with your files. So suddenly, for those of us trying to get our work done, this is really useful. We all have tedium we do every day that's no fun. Going on the web and filling out forms, dealing with apps, dealing with files. I call that donkey work. It's no fun because a donkey could do it. It doesn't require us to be intelligent or creative. It just requires us to sit there and push boxes. Well, I've always been jealous of presidents and CEOs because they have people that follow them around and do their donkey work for them. I always felt like if I got good enough at automation, maybe I could have that as well without having a person follow me around. But it was never quite possible until now. With the arrival of Claude Cowork and the ability of an artificial intelligence to work with your files, your apps, and the internet, suddenly donkey work is achievable by a robot. And I've been using a robot now for a few months that I developed myself. I'm going to teach you about it in this course, and I can tell you I'm doing a shocking amount of my donkey work through my robot assistant. My goal for this course is by the end, you're going to have your very own robot assistant that's doing your donkey work for you too. Now, you don't need to be an expert to do this. You don't need to know any programming. There is not a lick of programming code in this entire course because the robot assistant speaks English. It's going to read text files that you write or it writes for you, and it's going to follow those instructions. If you want to change it, you don't need to write up a fancy programming code. You just go in and rewrite the instruction in English, and the robot follows that next time. So you don't need a lot of technical expertise to do this. You just need to be a willingness to kind of go along for the ride, learn how it works, learn how to talk of it, and be willing to train your robot. And speaking of training your robot, that's exactly what we'll do in the first segment of this course. The first 10 videos are getting you up to speed on how the robot thinks, how to talk to it, how to connect it to your applications, your files, and your internet, and make it go do your bidding for you. It's going to be doing your donkey work by the end of those 10 videos. Once we get through those, you're going to have a robot starter kit that you can use as you go through the course. Actually, as you're watching the videos, the robot starter kit will actually enhance your robot for you. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this in a course, and it's really exciting. Speaking of first times, historically, I teach people how to use a specific application. It occurs to me as you're going through this course, you're building your own custom robot. It's like you're making the perfect productivity application just for you. But because this is evolving, I don't want to just give you the videos. Afterwards, we're going to do a 10-week workshop series where we go through it in even greater detail. So if you want to get better at using it for email, your task system, we're going to have a workshop for each one of those things as we go through it. There's a lot of ways to approach these problems with your robot. So as we go through the course and the workshops, you're going to learn different approaches so you can figure out what works best for you. Since there'll be other people in the room, we'll probably get some ideas from them as well. In fact, at the very end, we're going to do a little show and tell, and people can share some of their favorite robot assistant techniques. So it's a little bit of a community as we work together through this. We build our own robot assistants, but I will tell you, this is absolutely doable for you. No matter who you are, no matter where you are at, this is automation at its finest. I've never seen the ability to develop automation like this in my life, and I've been teaching it for 20 years. Problems we've been banging our head against, we could never solve, now seem trivial with a robot assistant. That's why I'm excited. That's why I want you to go through this course with me. We're going to learn it all together. Now, before we get started, you need to understand how the robot assistant works. So why don't we begin there? A legitimate question heading in is, what exactly can this robot assistant do for you? Well, the answer is a lot. First, it can access and process information. I'm going to teach you in this course how to set a text bank on your device that it is constantly working with, keeping track of information for you so you don't have to. Humans are great at processing, but we're not good at memory. Your robot assistant will do that for you, freeing you up to do some of your best work. It can also name and manage files reliably. I've spent 20 years teaching people the best ways and workflows to manage documents and digital files. So many things that were struggles for us throughout that time are now trivial with the assistance of a robot assistant. I'm going to teach you all about that. It can also work with the web. While at first this seems like a small point, it's actually huge. Any bit of tedium that you have to go and do on the web, it handles for you. Once you give it the right instructions, it does it repeatedly and reliably. Likewise, the robot assistant can work with applications. Thanks to the Model Context Protocol from Anthropic, an increasing number of applications are tying themselves right into your robot assistant. There are new MCPs every day, giving your robot assistant even more utility. And then there's the problem we all love to hate, email. With your robot assistant, you can triage your email and so much more. Indeed, anything repeatable on your Mac is subject to automation through your robot assistant. As I was training my robot assistant, I found myself jumping out of bed every morning with a list of ideas of things that I do every day that I don't want to do anymore. With just a little bit of training, my robot assistant was able to take those over for me. I can't wait for you to have that exact same feeling. The next question is, how does it work? Well, there's three pieces to a robot assistant. The first one is memory. Using a traditional chatbot, you'd always discover that while the thing is useful, it has a very poor memory. So one conversation to the next, it doesn't really remember what's going on, and the context gets lost. So you've got to rebuild that context every time. With the robot assistants, your workspace folder holds everything the assistant needs. Instructions, style guides, project files, skill documents. This is something we're going to build together throughout the course. And this is the assistant's brain. They're just files on your computer, but the assistant can constantly be going back and reading them, refreshing its memory, and making it way more useful to you. Now, the second piece of this are skills. They're documented workflows that tell the assistant exactly how to handle specific types of work. A content creation skill, an email drafting skill, a daily briefing skill. Each one is a set of instructions you've written or customized from the template I'm giving you, along with the assistance of your robot assistant, to give it the skill to do the task you've asked. And then the last piece of this is reach. With MCP connectors, the assistant can interact with your real tools, calendar, email, Slack, task manager, notes. All that stuff is available in addition to the entire web. Without reach, the assistant can only read and write files. With reach, it can check your schedule, search your messages, and take real action. So we're going to dive into this nuts and bolts in the course, starting from the beginning. But before we do, I just want to show you one trick I can do with my robot assistant. Here I am in Claude Cowork. I've pointed it at my Sparky OS folder. First thing I'm going to do is tell it to remember what's there. This is a little expansion snippet I run every time we start it up, and I'll tell you more about this in the course, but you're having it check its skills and its index so it remembers what generally it can do. Okay, it's ready to start work. I want to make what I call the daily brief, so I'm going to tell it to remind itself about that. We're about to create a new daily brief. Please check your skills before we begin. Yes. So a few things. I'm using a text-to-voice tool to speak to it. I find that faster than typing and more conversational. And as you see, it's now going to work for me. It's going to use the MCP with Fantastical, my calendar app, to get my available calendar events. It's got a list of all my tasks. It's checking those. It's going to look for recent messages in Slack. It's going to check my drafts Cowork inbox. These are all things I'm going to teach you about throughout this course. It's even going to check my email inbox and the weather for where I live here in Foothill Ranch. So it's off doing this. And this is a thing when you've got a robot assistant, is it will occasionally go off and do other work. The way I handle that is I make it a full screen app, put it to the side, and I just come back and check on it every once in a while. Right now it's doing, looks like the last bit of this, checking the weather data. Down the right side of the screen, you can see the context, the different applications it's looking at, and the different skills and instructions it's reading. This is what I was talking about, memory plus reach. One of the nice things about the robot assistant is it will narrate what it's doing, so you've got a good idea what's going on. My robot assistant manages a lot of information for me, ongoing projects, tasks, email, calendar, so there's a lot of information for it to collect. And what I'm aiming for here is to have it print me out a one-page daily brief. I've always been jealous of like presidents and CEOs who walk into their office and some smart assistant has put everything they need for the day on one page. So I decided to train my robot assistant to do that for me. In the course, I'm going to teach you the same. Okay, you can see it's getting more active now as it's finishing up the project of making my daily brief for me. And there it is. So it has created my daily brief, looking through all of the MCPs and all the data that it has for me. I'm going to open that up in preview, and there it is, my daily brief, the thing that I put on my desk every day. Let me put it in the center here so you can see it. Let's just look through it. At the top, I've got the title and a font that I chose. It's got the date and the week number, a little stoic quote underneath. That's kind of fun. And I've also got the weather for today, tomorrow, and the next day. Under that, I've got the calendar for today. Today's the gotcha day for my dog, so that's kind of fun. And I've got my events for today listed below that. I have repeating tasks that I do on certain days. This is the list of the repeating tasks I normally do on Sunday. My robot knows that, so it's reminding me those are my repeating tasks. It's also giving me a list of workbench items. These are the things that are active that I'm working on right now for one reason or another. And I've got a few past due items here that need updating. I've also got some pinned items here that I need to take care of. It's following those for me because I've pinned them in my system. They show up every day until I get them done. It's also got my calendar for the next few days, tomorrow and the week ahead, and approaching deadlines with a number list to the right telling me how long they are away. It's giving me update on my various projects I've got going on. The productivity field guide workshops are about half done, and the robot assistant is just getting started. I'm recording now. That's kind of exciting. And then it's also giving me awareness as to notifications, showing me what's coming up in Slack and Cowork and email and in SaneBox. So it's just telling me anything that I need to make sure to pay attention for. I'm really bad at checking social media and mail. The reason I added this to my brief is to give me that reminder in the morning in case there's anything that needs my attention. So every day I've got this on my desk, sitting there, waiting to help me out, get through the day. From bell to bell every day, my robot assistant is helping me out. Not only does it do all that donkey work I was talking about earlier, it's also just my assistant. When I start the day, it lets me know if any communications came in, email, Slack, or anything overnight that I need to deal with and is critical. It also lets me know what's outstanding on my task list. If I need to follow up with somebody, it offers to write the email for me to follow up with them. It takes care of all that stuff. When communications come in, I can tell it to log it, and it does that. It logs the email to that person's contact. It puts a link to the email. Everything is just handled. So much that I used to spend so much time is no longer on my plate because the robot does it for me. Get to the end of the day, it does the same thing. It does the daily summary. It even prints up a little one-sheeter for me that I can have on my desk throughout the day. This thing is so useful, and I bet yours will be too. But that's enough yakking about robots from me. I want to get on to the next video so we can start learning this stuff. I'd like you to do one thing, though, before we go. When we finish, take a minute, get a piece of paper or open a file on your computer, write down a list of all the donkey work in your life that you would like to hand off to a robot assistant. Look for the stuff that's repeatable, something where you can give clear instructions and it'll do it, and the robot will do it for you. So let's get there together in the next video.